Green's friend, Timberlake here. This puzzle is called Binary Fission by Shye, and it was solved on Cracking the Cryptic by Simon Anthony on October 24th, 2021 in a video called The New Sudoku Trick That Almost Nobody Knows. I will analyze this solve, plus add some positive video and what-if moments. Check the link below if you want to solve it on your own. And with that, it's solving time. Like most puzzles, Simon starts with simple cross-hatching and Snyder notation. Snyder notation being that technique where you mark in candidates that are restricted to 2 locations in a block. He also said he was under pressure because his dad's birthday and he was meeting him for lunch. So I just made some marks here where you see there's only 2 spots for the 2s in block 3 and then also the 1s. And he kind of works his way around the 1s. Those are 2s. Again, you can see only 2 spots here because of the 2s in columns 5 and 6. Finishes out the 2s and then looks at the 3s. There's only 2 spaces left for the 3 up here in block 1. And now he moves on to the 4s. See 2 spots there in block 5, 2 spots there in block 9. When he gets to the 5s, he notices, hey, the 2s and 5s limit 2 and 5 to the same 2 spots, so that's actually a naked pair, and which is helpful for us because that means it blocks out any other digits from being in those 2 spots. And then he continues on with the 5s down in block 8, moves on to the 6s, notices that these 2 6s are restricted in block 5 to row 6 because this 6 is coming up, and so that makes it a pointing pair. 6s can't be in those 2 spots anymore. So now there's just 2 places left for 6 in block 6. And now he looks down column 7 and across row 9, notices the 4s and 6s are in the block out the same spot. So now we have a 4-6 naked pair in block 9. So this is helpful for him. He moves on with the 6s, looks up in block 1, only 2 spots for 6 there, and now he goes down to block 7. See, there's only 2 spots for 6 there. And this is really suspect because when you see these 6s, Simon's mentioned this before in previous video, when they're not in the same like row or column and they're offset like that within the block, usually there's some more advanced logic going on. And so he always gets kind of suspect there that there's going to be something tricky that he's going to have to kind of figure out. So he does the 6s and then he moves on to the 9s and sees only 2 spots for 9 right there, and 2 spots for 9 down here in block 7. At this point, he says, this is not going well. I've not got anything. And so this is going to bring us up to our first pause the video moment. And because it's not, at this point, Simon gives up on Snyder notation or trying to solve any cells. Okay, pause the video and see if you can find any more Snyder notation or solve any cells while I give you a few seconds. Okay, congratulations, you found something. I did not. I felt like Simon got all of the Snyder notation, and there's no actual cells you can solve without doing some advanced techniques. I will show you something kind of interesting. If you show all the candidates, looking at the 1s, you know, Simon was noticing there's something going on with the 1s, is there is an X chain using just candidate 1s, and I'll show you. So if you start here, and you do strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, and you end up in this cell, you'll notice that either this is a 1 or that would be a 1, and so you can eliminate a 1 right there. And if you eliminate the 1 right there, this becomes a pointing pair, and so you can eliminate that 1. I've done a tutorial on X chains. I'll put a link right here, and you can go check that out if you'd like. But you can make some eliminations there, but that's not going to help you actually make more progress in the puzzle. And you'll see later on what Simon does find that helps him crack this puzzle. And so Simon moves on now with looking for weaknesses, as he calls it, where he's just going to mark in where there's only 2 or 3 candidates in a particular cell. And so first, he looks up in block 2 and notices only 7 and 8 can be in block 2, row 5. And then he looks across row 2, since he had this 2, 5 here. He thinks there must be some restrictions going on. He puts a 3, 6, 7 in row 2, column 4, then a 3, 7, 8 in row 2, column 3, and then a 6, 7, 8 in row 2, column 1. Didn't really get much out of that, so then he shifts down here to block 9. And I can tell you Simon hates when he has to fill in more than 2 candidates in a cell. He'd rather not do that. And so he did a 1-9 right there. Notice there's a 2-3 in row 8, column 7, and then a 2-3-9 down here, row 9, column 8, and a 1-2-9 in row 9, column 9. Didn't really get anything there. So now he shifts his focus back up, and he thinks there's more action going on because of you have the cells coming up here and over there across row 3 and up column 5. And so he marks this 1, 7, 8 here. And I'm going to tell you, you need to keep an eye on this cell. It ends up being somewhat important, especially where the ones are concerned. Something else to keep in mind is that there's really no anchor for your eyes to find or solve cells. Would you notice, like this block has 4 cells in it, but all the rest of them have no more than 3. And so I mentioned this in my all the different ways to solve a Sudoku cell video, and I'll put a link here, is that if you have no anchor for your eyes, if there's no house, row, column, or block that has 5 or more cells filled in, you just don't know where to look. And so that's where Simon's at this point. He's like, man, I don't know where to look to kind of figure this out. So then he just starts working his way down column 5. He sees a 4, 5, 7 right there. And then he fills in 1, 4, 5, 8 right there in row 7, column 5. And now puts a 4, 7, 8 in row 8, column 5. Notices that the 5s, there's only 2 spots for a 5 here in column 5, and there's only 2 spots for a 1. He marks them, the 1's pink, he marks the 5's green because of that. He thinks there's a weird thing going on here with the 1s. He notices how you have just the 1s, 2 spots in a lot of the cells. I'm not going to do the marking and the colors because I'd mess up my preloaded candidates. I'm sorry about that. Restriction of Sudoku. But he's like, this is no good. He looks at the 5s and goes, I can't do anything with the 5s. There's something with the 1s, but I don't know what yet. And again, there's very little places for him to look here because there's no anchor point. So then he goes over to row 3, column 7 over here, and notices that that can just be a 7 and a 9. And he comes across row 3 and notices that that's just a 1, 7, and 8. And at this point, he's starting to put some of the pieces together, but he says, Shye, where have you hidden the magic in this one? He's getting close, I'll tell you that. Then he notices there's restriction by value cell here, 1 and 4 in row 7, column 4. And anytime you're getting and creating by value cells, you're getting close to some kind of advanced technique or strategy. And then he notices row 7, column 3, puts an 8, 9 there, and finishes out row 7 by putting in the 5, 6, and 8 in row 7, column 2. And then Simon, after filling this out, says these 3 cells are a bit sus. These inside corner cells, the 8, 9, the 1, 7, 8, the 7, 9, and then this 1, 9. So really the 8, 9, 1, 9, 7, 9. He's like, there's something going on here. And then he finally sees it. He notices the 1s have to be in 2 places here in rows 3 and row 7. So he goes, hey, if this is a 1, that can't be a 1. This has to be a 1 right here. But that's not a 1. Then what you have is a 7, 8, 7, 9, 8, 9 XY-Wing. And I'll just show you that right here. Where this would be the pivot, and these would be a pincher. So if this is not a 1, then that would be a 1, right? And what you'd have is a 7, 8, 7, 9, 8, 9. So if this is and then that would be a 7, this is a 9, this is an 8, that's a 9. So this would not be a 9, and this would have to be a 1. And so what Simon's saying is either that's a 1, and this is a 1, or that's not a 1, and this is a 1. So this can't be a 1, so you can solve that for a 4. Cool, huh? And Shye admits later, this is what she meant for Simon to find, and for solvers to find. And she calls it an almost XY-Wing because of this one. Almost. It's either a 1, or if it's not a 1, it's an XY-Wing. Very, very cool. And this is like the trick. This is where you got to go. So now we're going to get to our first what if moment. What if Simon didn't see this technique? How else could you solve or get past this point in the puzzle? And I'll show you that right now. Well, believe it or not, there is another advanced strategy that Simon could have spotted with the candidates he had placed that would have helped him crack this part of the puzzle. Not nearly as cool or elegant as Shye's intended pattern of this almost XY wing, but it is a WXYZ wing. And I'll show you that right now. The candidates are 1, 4, 7, and 8. And so your parent cell right here is right there. And then this is your spouse cell. And I've done a tutorial on WXYZ wings. And if you don't understand them very well, I put a link right now. You can go check that out. But basically, you need 4 candidates, 1, 4, 7, and 8. This one, this parent sees the spouse, and it sees these 2 children cells, I call them. It shares 1 candidate in common with just the spouse cell, which is the 4. And then the spouse cell will contain that 4, and it'll contain a digit shares in common with one of these children. So they can have a 1 in common. And what ends up happening is you can eliminate a 1 from any cell that sees both the pink and this blue one right there. And the reason being is if you solve any 3 of these, you'll see what happens. If you solve this for 4, that's a 1. And so anything that sees it couldn't be a 1. If this is a 7, this would be an 8, and that would be a 1. And if this is an 8, that would be a 7, and that would be a 1. So in either case, you have a 1 here, or you have a 1 there. And so what you could do with this WXYZ wing is eliminate that 1 right there. You can eliminate this one. And by eliminating that 1, there's only one other 1 in this block. And so you can solve that for a 1. And once you solve that for a 1, you can solve this for a 1, and then you can start working your way through the puzzle. Because you'd be able to solve this one for a 1 and keep on going. All right. Now I want to show you another technique you could do that would be even harder to spot than this WXYZ wing. Okay, the other advanced strategy you could use to solve this part of the puzzle is a discontinuous loop. And it's something I had found when I was analyzing this position. And so what I've done here is I've shown all the candidates, and I set up what I call the Christmas lights, where all the strong links are colored by candidate. So the 4s are strongly linked right here. These 2s are strongly linked. These 5s are strongly linked. These 6s are strongly linked, etc. This is something Simon would have had to put a lot more digits in before he could be able to use this kind of alternate inference chain. He doesn't really like those anyway. And so here's how the logic would work. You start right here in this cell, and you go strong to this 4, weak to this 2, strong to this 2, weak to this 6, strong to this 6, weak to this 6, strong to this 6, weak to this 4, strong to that 4, weak to this 4, and then weak again to this 4. And so that's a discontinuous loop. You have 2 weak links in a row. And what it means is from this cell, either way you go out with a chain, it would say that this could never be a 4. And so you have a weak, you can eliminate the 4 from this cell. And once you eliminate that 4, solve that for a 6, solve that for a 4, you solve this for a 6, you work your way up this puzzle, you solve this for a 6, this ends up being a 4, and you can start making a lot of great progress in this puzzle. If you're not familiar with the alternate inference chain, I'll put a link to my alternate inference chain video tutorial right here, and you can check that out. Now let's go back to the main solve. So after Simon solves that 4, he's able to start solving a lot more cells in this puzzle and make some progress. You know, so there's only one place left for a 4 in row 5, column 5. And then it saw that it unravels these 6s over here that were that naked pair. So you can solve for a 6 and a 4, and which affects the 6s over in block 7. So you solve a 6 in row 8, column 1. He moves up and solves a 6 in row 3, column 2, and then in row 2, column 4, and works his way down into row 6, column 6, and over in row 5, column 9. Knocks out all those 6s. Then he looks over and notices you have a 7-8 and a 7-8 and a 3-7-8. So row 2, column 3 has to be a 3. So he solves that for a 3. Then he marks a couple of 3s down column 2. And then notices there's a 7-8 naked pair in row 2, column 5, and column 8. So he's able to solve this for a 1 because it was 7, 1, 7, 8, which is really nice. And so he puts the 1 there in row 3, column 5, and then notices that he calls it bent triple. I call it XY-Wing. You know, the 7, the 8, 9, 7, 8, 7, 9. Since the 1's no longer there, you can remove the 9 from here and solve that for a 1. And he makes some more marks for the 1's in block 6. Then he starts solving for the 1's. Notices, oh, there's only one up there in block 1. And remember, most of those were just limited to 2 spots in the cell. So he's able to kind of start solving some of these 1's. Then he sees a 1 in row 6, column 3 that he solves, and row 4, column 9. And then row 9, column 4, he's able to solve this 1 down here. Uses that 7, 8 naked pair again and say, oh yeah, I can actually solve that for a 5. And so he solves that for a 5, and then solves 8 in row 7, column 2. Marks some 5s in row 9, saying, okay, the 5s are limited now to those 2 spots, so he marks those. He's good about using the scenario notation even when the puzzle's starting to kind of fall apart. And then a 9 in row 7, column 3. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I can finish off that row. Mark some 9s in rows 4 and 5 in column 1. But then notices right away he can come up here and solve for a 4 because he got the 7, 8 naked pair, so he can solve that for a 4. Row 1, column 2, and then row 4, column 1, since the 4's are cutting up and down and across. And then he's able to solve for that 9 for the mark he just made. Then cuts across with the 4's again, and notice there's only one place left for 4 in block 3. Then goes down and finishes marking the cells here in block 8. It's like, oh, 3, 7, 8, and 3, 7. And now these 3's are a pointing pair, so 3, 3, only one place left for 3 up there in block 2. So he's able to mark that. Then cuts across and says, oh, okay, there's just a naked triple left, variation of 7s, 8s, and 9s. So he marks those in. And 8, 9. After marking those 7, 8, 9s, he works his way down to row 3, column 6. Marks that for 7, 8, 9. Goes down to row 6, column 1, and it's like, oh, okay, I got to find my next spot to start solving again. And then he finishes off column 1 by putting a 5, 7 there. Then works his way up column 3, 2, 7, 2, 7, and notices, oh, hey, 2, 7, 2, 7, well, that can't be a 7 anymore. And so he's able to solve that for an 8 and solve the rest of block 1 for that for a 7, which disambiguates, as they call it, down there, the 5 and then the 8. And then he turns his focus, since he got the 8 right here, he works across rows 5 and 6, and notice there's only one spot left for an 8 up there in block 6, and then solves for the 9 because that was the other spot there. Okay, after solving the 8s and 9s, he said, oh, I just knocked out that 8 that was up here, so now there's only one place left for an 8 up in block 3. And you can see it's kind of, the hard part of the puzzle is gone. Now it's just more of pairs and triples and kind of working your way through those. And he's able to solve for 7, row 3, column 7. And so he's kind of pulling apart the naked triple that was up there, the 9, and then he solves this 9 here, and actually comes down and solves the 9 way down there first. It's like, okay. Puts a 2, 5 in row 6, column 9, and finishes off column 9. And then is able to solve for a 7. Finishes there, works his way over here, and realizes now the 7 is only on one spot down there in block 7. So you solve that for a 7. And he can, of course, solve for the 2. It finishes off block 7. And after solving for that 2, he now sees that he can solve for the 3. And he finishes everything down the bottom there. Okay, and after solving everything in the bottom, he then works his way up column 7 and marks the 2-5 right there. And it was at this point, 16 cells remain, and Simon Anthony cracks the puzzle. It's all naked and hidden singles from here. You can follow along if you want as I go through the remaining cells. So there's a lot of comments for this video, and viewers, some of them had solved with that WXYZ-Wing. Shye said that it was the intended logic is what Simon found, and then I showed you that discontinuous loop. Some people also use a technique called the slot machine, which I'm not that familiar with, but it seemed to disambiguate those ones. And in case you're wondering, binary fission definition is a method of asexual cell reproduction where it basically splits into two identical copies of itself. And that's kind of the hint of this almost XY-Wing. And it was a super popular video. 273,000 viewers loved this one, and there's only been one classic since this one in October. I think that Simon should be doing some more classics. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Smart Hobbies. You don't miss any new content. I'll give you a couple other videos to watch in the meantime. If you want to support this channel, please check out Buy Me a Coffee. I can use that to give you further resources to promote Sudoku. Thank you all so much for watching.